So I must confess, I like some pretty trashy television shows. My favorites are lifestyles of the rich and famous ripoffs, like Cribs and The Fabulous Life of. These are shows that are dedicated to huge mansions. My favorite thing in these shows is when the director pulls back for the aerial shot and you no longer see the room with 8 PlayStations. You don't see the side-by-side Sub-Zeros. You don't even see the indoor pool with the mosaic self-portrait at the bottom. What you notice are huge fences and lots of palm trees. It's like these homes don't look like homes anymore. They look like drug lord compounds. Seems like the rich and famous like to build bubbles in which to live. You know, bubbles to shield out the rest of the world. Bubbles that will keep them safe. Bubbles that are really just extravagant fortresses, you know, without the moat. And we all know why the rich and famous want to live in bubbles. I mean, come on. Who doesn't want to live in a fortress?
7 came out of a teaching series that Jeff and I did a couple of years ago.
Like, what would it look like if we did something super special, kind of start our year off? And it just kind of really materialized well. The songs and the teaching overlapping and all the work that Aaron did on the video just really materialized well, and we were like, we got something here, we should go forward with this. And
we walked through the 7 deadly sins and then the Beatitudes, comparing, contrasting between those two. And then Jeff had a lot of material that he had studied and put together, and he had a chance to talk with Zondervan, a publishing company, and he pitched this book, 7, the 7 deadly sins and the Beatitudes, and took that series that we had done creatively and some of that work and refined it, worked it a lot more.
Seems like everything I purchased recently has been designed by somebody somewhere to help me avoid other people.
Get what I want, I'm gonna keep what I need, I'm gonna take what I can, whether expensive or free. What's mine is staying, what's mine, what's yours is mine.
More and more of my energy, more and more of my time just go into my bubble. You know, I find myself sacrificing for this thing. Yeah, it's really not that big of a leap. So there's a great picture in one of Dante's books where there's some people in purgatory, and they desire a different kind of life, and they're moving through this place where they are chained to some behaviors, some addictions that are just killing their souls. And Dante pictures these people with angels singing over them, and they're singing the Beatitudes. And he picks out a sin that this person struggles with. Say it's envy, and he has an angel singing, "Blessed are you who mourn, for you will be comforted." And Dante was the one that paired the deadly sins originally with the Beatitudes, and asked, what does this sin and what does this Beatitude say to this sin? And that's what the book's about, and that's what our presentation in some part is about, is that the sins, an antidote to the sins, perhaps is Jesus talking about, look, that's the road to a hell-like condition, and this is the road to an encounter of heaven all around you. He stops there because this station didn't put any filters on its content. So that morning, my brother watched as human beings were jumping out of windows and just falling. He has watched as their bodies hit the ground. Saw really graphic footage of body parts, blood all over the pavement. And we're discussing, had the president got on TV that night and said, my fellow Americans, it is time to take somebody out, both of us would have turned to violence. We would have hit back as hard as we possibly could. Because sometimes I think if I can just hit somebody harder than they hit me, maybe they won't swing in the first place. If my blows connect, maybe justice will be done. It's like my fist, my tongue, my spit, my gun will set the world right.
Blood, hush, hush, quiet. Ooh, quiet. Ooh, quiet.
Really cool thing that I had never really seen or even conceptualized as far as what this would look like. And it took Jeff and I sitting down with his little script of stories and me playing guitar and singing, and that's where this project came into life.
Oh, my friends, I need your ears. Oh, my friends, I need you to hear.
And he looks at the man and he says, do you want to get well? And the man looks at him and he says, I can't. I have nobody to help me. It's like this guy is alone. But just like the other story, Jesus looks at the man and he says, your sins are forgiven. Stand up. Your sins are forgiven. The Greek word for stand up is egoreo. It's the same word the writers of the Jesus story use for resurrection. It's like this man was a corpse. He's in a dark place. He's got no hope. He's got no friends. And Jesus steps into his life and raises him from the dead. And then there is a definite movement towards receiving forgiveness. And it's not explicitly said like that necessarily, but it is certainly a movement toward there's a better way to do life than a life of greed and envy and wrath and all these things that really would love nothing more than to destroy our souls and keep us down. The movement is towards exposing that and just seeing and perhaps moving toward the life that God offers us. That's really the movement of the peace. But despite our failures, Jesus says God is not far from anyone at any time. You and I may feel crippled by the things we've done. We may feel crippled by our self-image. But if we listen really hard, we will hear the voice of God, and he is saying the same thing he always says over those whose lives are crippled. He says, blessed are you who are empty. Blessed are you who mourn. Blessed are you who hunger and thirst for a life made right. You are not alone. Heaven is here, and it has come for you.
And the day
you are not alone. You are not alone.
In all of my